Well, it's a big part of the market and economic recovery has certainly been related to housing. We have a slew of housing data next week, including pending and new home sales and Case-Shiller. What are your expectations? Because they're pretty high going into 2015.
Yeah, I think this recovery is going to continue. It's going to be a gradual recovery. It's that slightly upward sloping L-shaped recovery. So your data points on a monthly basis, there's going to be a lot of volatility. So I think looking forward into next year, I think you should see housing starts increase 15 to 20%. Now, the three variables that can drive this is household formation, wage growth, and credit. And what has been missing in this housing recovery is household formation. And that has to do a lot with the employment or the unemployment. And we like to look at the U6 number,
right,
as well as the situation in credit.
Well, unemployment is at 5.8%, which is a good thing. But there's no wage growth, and credit is tight. It's almost like I need experience, but I can't get a job. How is that going to be stimulated?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Those are the three variables. That's the three things to be looking at. And I compare this a lot to the only thing missing from this housing recovery is President Carter. And the reason for that is that we have elevated unemployment. Now, we've driven the headline number down, but the U6 number, right, those people that have abandoned looking for work, those people that have accepted part-time work in the place of full-time employment, that's elevated. So we have a lot of excess capacity. And when you have excess capacity in the labor force, you don't have wage growth. That's a very strong driver for home ownership. So, that's where we're sitting in the second. The second point is to your credit. We actually do have high interest rates. Well, yes, the Federal Reserve has lowered real interest rates, but we're in an environment where we have stricter credit standards, which make it much more difficult for people to get those mortgages, to buy those homes. And you've seen that in this housing recovery, most pronounced with that first-time home buyer.
Finally, where are you seeing the strength? Because for 2014, you and I have certainly been saying Texas, particularly Dallas and Houston metro markets, have just been stellar this year.
Yeah, and I coin it, not to be political, the red state phenomenon, where you have strong local economies, where you're creating those jobs, you're having wage growth, people are able to qualify for credit, they're able to buy that home, they're even able to buy that first-time home. So where you're seeing the strength, and it continues to be the Texas markets, you're right, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, but it's also moving into Florida, Tampa, Orlando, up into Jacksonville, and into the Carolinas, both South Carolina, Charleston, as well as North Carolina with Charlotte and Raleigh, Durham. I think you're going to continue to see that theme expanding in the months, quarters, and next year.
Okay, thanks very much. We always appreciate your insight.
Thanks for having me.
For The Street in New York, I'm Jill Malandrino.